The women of rock and roll, pioneers, rebels, and icons. Rock and roll has long been dominated by male artists, but the contributions of women in shaping the genre are undeniable. From the pioneers of the 1950s and 60s to the rebels of the 70s and 80s and the icons of today, women have consistently defied expectations, broken barriers, and redefined what it means to be a rock musician. The roots of women in rock stretch back to the early days of the genre. One of the first female rockers, Sister Rosetta Tharpe, was an electric guitar virtuoso whose gospel-infused rock sound influenced legends like Chuck Berry and Elvis Presley. Despite being overlooked in mainstream rock history for years, her contributions are now recognized as fundamental to the birth of rock and roll. Another early pioneer was Wanda Jackson, often dubbed the Queen of Rockabilly. With her powerful voice, energetic stage presence, and hits like Fujiyama Mama and Let's Have a Party, she brought a fierce female presence to a genre that was largely dominated by men in the 1950s. As rock evolved, so did its female stars. The 1970s saw the rise of Janis Joplin, whose raw, soulful voice and untamed spirit made her one of the greatest rock singers of all time. Hits like Piece of My Heart and Me and Bobby McGee showcased her emotional depth and undeniable stage presence. In the same era, Heart, fronted by sisters Ann and Nancy Wilson, proved that women could not only sing, but also shred on guitar. With hits like Barracuda and Crazy on You, they broke new ground for female musicians in rock, proving that women could command an arena just as well as any male-led band. The late 70s and early 80s ushered in Joan Jett, whose no-nonsense attitude and gritty sound with the Runaways and later the Blackhearts led to iconic tracks like Bad Reputation and I Love Rock and Roll. Alongside her, Pat Benatar brought powerhouse vocals and a rebellious attitude with songs like Hit Me With Your Best Shot and Love Is a Battlefield. The 1990s saw an explosion of female talent in alternative rock and grunge. Courtney Love and her band Hole brought a raw, unapologetic edge with albums like Live Through This, while Shirley Manson of Garbage combined electronic elements with rock, creating a unique sound that defined the decade. Meanwhile, Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill became one of the best-selling albums of all time, with brutally honest lyrics and anthems like You Oughta Know that resonated with a generation. PJ Harvey further pushed boundaries, blending punk, blues, and experimental sounds into her music. In the 2000s and beyond, women in rock have continued to shape the genre in diverse ways. Amy Lee of Evanescence brought gothic and symphonic elements to mainstream rock, while Hayley Williams of Paramore led the pop-punk revival. Florence Welch of Florence Plus, The Machine infused indie rock with ethereal vocals and grand orchestral compositions. The impact of women in rock and roll is undeniable. They have not only shattered stereotypes but have also expanded the genre in ways that would have been unimaginable without their contributions. Whether through raw emotion, blistering guitar solos, or unapologetic rebellion, female rockers continue to push the boundaries of what rock music can be. Today, artists like Halsey, Mitski, and St. Vincent continue to evolve the genre, proving that rock is not dead. It's just transforming with the times. Women in rock have paved the way for future generations, ensuring that the spirit of rebellion and artistry remains alive and well. Follow us for more rock and roll stories, updates, and exclusive content.